but how do we judge their
mean, to be
tournament?
honest, I think there's a lot of positives they can take from the Six Nations. I think they pushed Ireland very late. Well, no, that's a lie. They pushed France very late, sorry.
Yeah,
Obviously beating England, underperforming England, very good performances against Italy and England, who are obviously also underperforming. But then I know they have a difficult pool and the likelihood of them getting out is very low. But this is probably the best Scotland team that we've seen in a very long time.
hmm
The problem is, I feel like it's just almost like a wasted team because of their World Cup draw. Like, I just don't see them beating South Africa or Ireland. Like, the
yeah.
I'm not. I'm not going to rule it out though. I'm not. I'm
no,
never ruling them out.
I just don't see it
It's not.
because
Nah, it's not gonna
no,
happen.
it's not like realistic. I don't think it's going to happen. So I feel like it's almost just a wasted team to have to wait another 4 years to get somewhat of a shot at winning, like getting through the group stage. But I
I'm,
still think the backline was exceptional. To be fair,
I
I'm
mean,
going
for
to say
me,
something wild. I'm going to say
yeah.
something wild, and I'm going to say Scotland are going to cause an upset and beat South Africa.
oh
This
for
is why.
God's
This
sake!
is why I can't be asked.
I was
Like,
gonna no no.
How is that even
And
that ludicrous?
I'm not.
They're,
I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I'm gonna back Kieran here and say last time they played, they came within seven of South Africa, I believe. And that,
Scotland, I'm going to say it's now. Scotland have more of a chance of beating Ireland than they do South
thank
Africa.
you.
And I want to say this just because South Africa's forwards are so much better than
Yeah,
Scotland. Like, the gap is huge. So I feel like there's no given day where I see Scotland dominate any set piece, any go forward ball against Africa's forwards.
but I
And we
think
saw
no,
that.
but
No,
Scotland's
wait.
back
No,
is
let me
so
finish. Let me
better.
finish. Let me finish. We saw that Scotland's backline can definitely compete with Ireland's backline. So on their day, Finn Russell can play outstanding. The centres can be outstanding. The back three. So I see Scotland having a better chance beating Ireland than South Africa.
yeah. How
And
and how would
we're talking like Scotland don't have good forwards. They have like season and they have experienced internationals and players to come back like Hamish Watson, Rory Darge,
yeah? They got good. They got
Jack Dempsey. They've uncovered a gem there because he's playing unreal at 8.
they
Then
got
they have players like Gilchrist and Gray and the Gray brothers who are going to be good in the set piece. Like you know what they are. They're going to be good in the set piece. Their
Rowan
scrum,
Kieran.
their
Rowan and
scrum
Kieran.
isn't awful either.
Rowan and Kieran. Sorry.
Scotland.
I,
No, no, no. Tell you, Scotland aren't a team that are going to go win 18 consecutive games. They're not that kind of team. They're a team that will probably do a couple of games, lose a game. But at the World Cup, I just see them beating South Africa. I just think they're going to play faster than South Africa.
Kieran.
They
I'm sorry. I'm
do
not
that
gonna lie to
slumpy pattern.
you. Kieran, I'm not gonna lie to you, right? Your South African gender, I think, comes from a place of hurt, and just this. Nothing you're saying is based on logic, and it's all based on emotion. You've
Yeah,
given no,
when I
you've
hate
given
Ireland.
no reason, right, as to why. You given no tactical reason, right? Rohan gave some, fair enough, as to why South Africa beat Scotland. You're just saying it because you said, "Oh, I feel Scotland will beat South Africa." South Africa dominates Scotland in the set piece and in the kicking game, which arguably the most two important.
Yeah, so
Two
I,
important
I
things
would
to
they did
get.
not
argue.
they
I
did
would
not beat him in the
argue.
kicking game.
I would
They did
argue
not
with,
beat him.
with Finn Russell, and I think they will start Ali Price in the World Cup because of his experience. They don't lack a good kicking game, and Stuart Hogg from the back as well. If they choose Stuart Hogg, I think they will go Stuart Hogg against
They
South.
don't lack a kicking game, but do you think they're good enough to compete with the likes of South Africa? Is the
I
No,
think
question.
I'm not saying they're
on
going
their
to
day, and
compete
it
with them.
takes luck. Yes, on their
Rohan,
day, it takes
Rohan,
luck.
Rohan, you yourself said it as well. Their wins came against literally out of form teams, the worst Welsh team of all time, and a sloppy England. And now you think they can go toe to toe with a team that's never been
But
knocked out the group stages and is a three-time World Cup champion. That's absolute. It's
Tally,
ludicrous. It's
one thing you got to
ludicrous.
understand, okay? 6 months out from a World Cup, they pushed the best team in the world to the last minute. Okay, for me, France is the best team in the world, so I said,
Well, they're not officially. Ireland are.
okay. Well, they pushed France to the last minute, put in a very good, I'd say, 50, 55, 60 minutes against Ireland. So they're not playing bad against the top teams. There's stuff for them to work on. Yes, they're not playing bad. And then I would like to also say about how at a World Cup, you're going to have to use your 36 players. And South Africa will want to start their strongest team against Ireland. You can pick up injuries. Anything can happen that can go into Scotland's favour.
okay,
Rohan,
Ron, would you not say the
Rohan.
same for Ireland, though? That Ireland have the chance of losing to Scotland? Because you guys are assuming that Ireland are going to beat South Africa when that
Exactly.
definitely won't be the case. So
I
do you
mean,
not think
I think Ireland
Ireland,
Ireland
Ireland
have
would,
Ireland have three
Ireland,
people in
Ireland
every
would,
position other than fly half. where they can come in and you wouldn't notice a difference for me.
And you don't think the same thing about South Africa? Depth at lock, depth in the front row, depth in the back row, depth at 9, depth in the back
Yeah,
3.
yeah, no,
So
I'll
it's
give you
exactly
that.
the same.
Yeah.
Scotland have Hugh Jones and Tuiplotu would be very, very, very lucky to come to South Africa and be third choice in their positions. Third choice 13 and third choice 12.
I think
very lucky.
Tuiplotu starts for South Africa.
You're actually this is why I can't actually be sometimes, you know what, right? I actually sometimes can't be bothered with how the hell does Tuiplotu start over DLND, over Esterhuizen? Tell me now.
I just think he offers more. I think no. Do you know what it is? I think he's a better player. Yeah? I think he's a better player, but obviously with Esterhuizen and the way that they want to play with the kicking games.
No. But Ron, you just have a DLND agenda because you hate him.
I don't hate him. I know.
You've always said you think
he's like Dante. He's just good at what he does and not much else.
There's a whole agenda, if you haven't noticed it, against South Africa in this podcast.
No. There's a lot of South African players that I love.
No. Well, yeah, you love Pollard, right?
No, not Pollard, but like there's 4 or 5 of their second rows. I would, in an instant, I would take to be English. Same with the front.
Jeffy said that Pollard was the main reason why South Africa come together come the World Cup.
Well, he's also the main reason why they could flop at the World Cup. Let's be honest.
Rohan, all I'm saying is Scotland, right? They're mid-team. They've got mid-coach, mid-players, and a fly half who probably on his day probably isn't even better than Andre Pollard. So that's what I'm taking away from them, the Six Nations. I'm being serious. Rohan, you can do that.
No. Okay, all right. You can disagree with me on anything.
Yeah.
But to say that Pollard is a better player, South Africa, than Finn Russell is for Scotland is criminal.
He is a better big game moment player than Finn Russell.
What big? Okay, I can talk about all the big games that Finn Russell has played in. Japan at the World Cup, he was one of their best players. Every Six Nations game so far, he's turned up.
You're using a group stage argument, Rohan.
They didn't make it out the group stages. How am I supposed to use?
Pollard performed in a World Cup final. Right. He was clutch against Wales.
2015 against Australia, he was one of the best players, and they should have won that game and got to the semi.
Can I ask you a question? Right? Sure. Who has performed better generally in big game moments, Pollard or Finn Russell?
Who's had more big game moments? Pollard has. He has had more.
Answer the question.
Pollard has had more opportunity to perform at big games.
Thank you. So Pollard has played better in big games.
I think the better player, the person that contributes more, is Finn Russell, and you can't deny that. You just have to look at the stats and look at the fact that Pollard. They've been looking for ways of getting Pollard out the team for the last God knows how long.
Scotland is so.
He shows up once or twice, maybe every 4 years. It just so happened that it was the World Cup final. He did it last time.